So that dreaded check engine light popped on, and the scanner spit out a P0731 code. I know, that's a pretty stressful combination. But that code, it's not just a problem, it's a clue. In this explainer, we're going to decode exactly what your car is trying to tell you and figure out, just how serious this whole thing really is.
Yeah, nobody likes seeing that little glowing engine on the dash, but honestly, getting a specific code like P0731 is actually a good thing. It's a precise message straight from your car's computer. So let's dive in and break down what that message means. All right, so what is P0731, really? The official textbook definition is Gear 1 Incorrect Ratio. What that means, in simple terms, is that your car's brain, the computer, is constantly watching your engine speed and comparing it to how fast the wheels are actually turning. For first gear, it expects a very specific ratio between those two numbers. When it sees that the ratio is way off, well, it knows something's wrong, and boom, it throws this code. The best way to wrap your head around this is to think about a bicycle. Picture this. You're at the bottom of a steep hill. You shift into first gear, and you start pedaling hard. That's your engine working. But then the chain slips. Your legs are spinning like crazy, but the bike's barely moving forward. That's exactly what's happening inside your car's transmission. The engine's doing its job, but the power isn't getting to the wheels correctly. It's slipping. Okay, so we've got a slip. Where on earth do you even start looking for the cause? Well, you always start with the simplest and honestly the most common culprit. Before anyone even thinks about grabbing a wrench, you have to look at the lifeblood of the transmission itself, the fluid. That fluid can tell you a whole story. If the level is low, the transmission can't build up the right hydraulic pressure to fully grab the gear. That's a classic cause of slippage. If the fluid is old, dark, and dirty, it can actually clog up tiny, crucial passages and make important valves stick. And then there's the worst-case scenario. If you check the fluid and it has a burnt smell, or even worse, you see little metal chunks in it, oof, that's a huge red flag that something serious has already broken down inside. But what if the fluid looks perfectly fine? What if it's full, clean, and smells normal? Well, that means our investigation has to go a little deeper, into the transmission's guts. And that's where we find both the electrical parts that give the orders and the mechanical parts that actually do all the hard work. Yeah, today's transmissions are packed with electronics. Think of these shift solenoids as little electronic gates. They open and close to direct high-pressure fluid to engage the gears. If the solenoid for first gear gets stuck open or closed, then first gear just isn't going to happen. Then you've got your speed sensors, which are the computer's eyes and ears. If one of them goes bad, the computer gets garbage information. And of course, you can't rule out a simple frayed wire or bad connection, causing all kinds of chaos. Okay, now this is really, really important. So listen up. While it could be one of those electrical gremlins, over 95% of the time, a P0731 code means the exact opposite. It means the computer sensors are working perfectly. They are correctly reporting a real physical slip that's happening deep inside the transmission. See the difference? The problem isn't the messenger. The problem is the very serious message it's delivering. So if it's a physical problem, what are we talking about? We're talking about the heavy-duty stuff. Things like the internal clutch pack for first gear being so worn out that it just can't grip anymore. Or a part called a sprag. It's a kind of one-way clutch that's supposed to hold tight, but it's broken. It could even be a stuck valve inside the transmission's hydraulic brain, the valve body. These are the parts that are physically failing when this code pops up. All right, let's put this all together. Think of it like a police lineup of suspects. In the highly likely column, you've got your fluid issues and actual internal wear and tear. That's almost always where the problem is. Then, way over in the less common column, you have things like a bad speed sensor or a faulty computer. It happens, but it's way, way rarer. A good mechanic knows to focus on the prime suspects first. Whew. Okay, that's a lot to take in, right? We've gone from simple fluid all the way to major internal damage. So the big question is, what do you actually do about it? How do you get from this scary code to a car that drives right again? Well, you follow a roadmap. See, a proper diagnosis isn't about just guessing and throwing parts at the car. It's a logical, step-by-step process that starts with the easiest and cheapest things first and only moves on to the bigger stuff when it has to. So here's that roadmap. Step 1, always, is check the fluid, level and condition. It's easy, it's fast, and it could be the whole problem right there. Step 2, you check for any other codes. Maybe there's a code for a specific solenoid that gives you a lead. Step 3 is where the pros really shine. They hook up a high-end scan tool and watch the data live as you drive. They can literally see the numbers that prove the transmission is slipping internally. And that, unfortunately, usually leads to step 4, getting ready for the fact that the transmission is probably going to need internal repair, a full rebuild, or a replacement. And let me be crystal clear about why you have to take this seriously. This is not a code you can just clear from the computer and hope it goes away. Driving around with an internal slip is like running with a rock in your shoe, a very, very hot rock. It creates a ton of heat and friction, and that heat just starts cooking and destroying all the other good parts in the transmission. What starts as just a first gear slip can quickly cascade into a total, complete failure that leaves you stranded on the side of the road. So, here's the bottom line, folks. Unless you're a seasoned transmission builder, P0731 is not a weekend DIY project. Just guessing and throwing a new speed sensor at it, for example, is probably going to be a total waste of money. A pro can use their tools to confirm the internal failure and then give you the most cost-effective options, whether that's a targeted repair, a rebuild, or a whole new unit. At the end of the day, that check engine light isn't just some random, annoying light. It's your car trying to talk to you. And with a P0731 code, the message it's sending is loud, clear, and really serious. It's telling you there's a problem that needs your attention right now, before a little slip turns into a massive, catastrophic failure.